What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Detailed Dad. On today's episode, we're going to be pouring some out for all those trash car interiors due to our furry friends. You know what I'm talking about. Those German Shepherds, those Chihuahuas, those Yellow Labs, you name it, you got it. But you know what they all do. They all shed and they all leave hair. So a few days ago, we took a quick road trip up to Orlando. I put my German Shepherd in the back seat of my daily driver and pandemonium ensued. There is hair everywhere. So we're gonna spend the next few hours cleaning that stuff up. So all that and a little bit more to come on this episode of Detailed Dad. Before we get started, I wanted to go ahead and quickly review some of the tools that we're gonna be using today in order to get the interior detail done. So we're gonna take this in steps. Our first step is gonna be to try to remove as much of the dog hair we can without really doing any sort of real physical activity. So first and foremost, we're gonna hit it up with the blower. So we're gonna go ahead and open up all the doors of the vehicle and try to blow as much of the dog hair out of the vehicle as we can. Once we do that, then we're gonna go ahead and follow up with our trusty drill brush and our shop vac, and that should really, for the most part, tackle the majority of the dog hair. For the little tight spaces, we've got a small little detail brush to get and pull some hair out of there. And then we'll go ahead and move on into wiping the interior down, doing the windows, etc. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So let's get started.
Here we go again. Trying hard, but you wanna be my friend. Ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. Here we go again. Call my bluff, I'ma be here till the end. I'm the one you ride, I'm the one you ride to. If you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out, 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 I can help you out. Here we go again. Time is up and I'm calling up my friends. Ain't no wonder why, ain't no one to ride to. Here we go again. Call me up and you wanna be my friend. I'm the one you ride, I'm the one you ride to. If you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can help you out, 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 I can help you out. Look, if you
Alright, so just like we would with any other detail, before we start, we're going to go ahead and remove all of the accessories out of the vehicle, starting with the floor mats. I also have a child seat protector on the passenger side there that I'm going to go ahead and remove. We've already gone ahead and removed any loose garbage and stuff like that off camera. There really wasn't much inside the vehicle. My wife was in our other vehicle with my son, and I had the dog in the back of this one. So as you can see here, we're gonna start the blowout procedure on the inside of the vehicle. I have all 4 doors open, and I'm using my 56 volt Ego blower to blow out as much of the dog hair as I possibly can. Though this is the only time you're gonna see the blowout procedure on camera. We're actually gonna use this particular procedure several times throughout the detail, as you kind of chase your tail a little bit whenever you're dealing with dog hair. So you're only going to see it once, but we're probably going to use the blower approximately 3 to 4 times on the entire detail. Thankfully, the particular fabric in my Mazda doesn't grab onto dog hair. It allows the dog hair to kind of just sit on the surface. Bad for your clothes, great for the interior. So the blower gets a lot of the dog hair out. There is some stuff stuck in the fibers and the carpets, and still some stuff stuck on the seats, which we're gonna go ahead and use with my drill brush. But you start with the easiest thing first, which is again to blow out as much of it as you possibly can. Some people use a blower, some people use compressed air. The blower works great for this particular situation. Moving on to the carpets now, we're using my drill brush attachment on top of my 18-volt rigid drill. Great combination. Brushes the carpets, loosens up any dirt, and then allows me to vacuum it off fairly easily. Two tools that I use for dog hair removal or just pet hair removal is the lily brush and my drill brush. Those two things will pretty much get 99% of the things that you would need out of the carpet for you. For anyone out there that's a mobile detailer, if you're using a drill brush, make sure you're carrying multiple batteries throughout the day, as you will go through your batteries. In my mobile setup, I carry a charger that I can just quickly attach to my generator and charge my batteries up, but I still carry 3 batteries with me at all times. As you can see, the drill brush is making pretty quick work of the dog hair on the carpets, and then we're following up with my vacuum and with the brush attachment. Now the mats in this particular vehicle, or the vehicle itself, has a little bit over 100,000 miles on it, so the mats have seen their fair share of use over the years, but as you can see, they still look pretty good. Moving on to the interior now, we're just going to go ahead and continue the process we used on the carpets, starting with the drill brush, then following up with a vacuum, and then we'll be using my small detail brush to get into any tight spaces where there may be some dog hair trapped in between any tight spaces and crevices. If you haven't done so already, now would be a good time to get and hit that subscribe button if you like what you see, and also hit the bell notification icon so you get notified anytime we put out new content. Drill brush attachments are awesome. They make them in different variations of stiffness and sizes. Really takes a lot of the manual labor out of doing carpets when it comes to detailing. Makes it a little bit more efficient, and they work fantastic. Thankfully, Mother Nature was on my side this time, and it was actually a fairly breezy day outside. So as I'm using the drill brush, I'm finding that any loose hair is actually getting blown out of the car on its own as long as I keep the doors open. So the doors were pretty much open for a good 2 hours straight or so as I was working my way through the vehicle, and Mother Nature did her job and assisted me in getting a lot of the dog hair out of the car. Now, I'm sure some of you may be wondering what kind of dog I have, and I have a German Shepherd. She's 7 years old. Her name is Arya. She is a great dog, and yes, she is named after Arya from Game of Thrones. So working our way underneath the driver's seat now, you can see we're using our detail brush to get in between the seat rails, and also between the rails and the B-pillar of the vehicle. There's some tight spaces there where some dog hair was definitely stuck in there, so we're going to use that small detail brush to scrape that stuff out and make sure that we suck it up in the vacuum. If you're like me, there's a great possibility that you suffer from allergies, so it's important to me to keep the inside of the vehicle clean, or get it cleaned whenever I have my dog inside, because I don't do too bad around her. If I am in enclosed spaces with her for long periods of time, my allergies will start to act up. So it's good for me to get all the dog hair and dander and all that stuff out of the vehicle, so that whenever I'm driving, I can actually breathe inside the car. So we continue to work our way around the vehicle using our drill brush on our seats, carpets, etc. One of the things you want to make sure whenever you're using your drill brush is that you keep an eye out for any loose threads inside the seats. In this particular shot, you're going to see here that I actually have a loose thread on the bottom right hand corner of the seat. It's been there forever. I know it's there, so I really don't pay too much mind to it. Shortly after the shot, actually, I went ahead and I clipped it with a nail clipper. However, whenever you're using these drill brushes, be very careful to make sure that you actually don't damage the seat. Try to use the most least aggressive power method on the drill if you can and still get the results. That's just a rule of thumb when it comes to detailing. You start with the least aggressive and then move your way up. All right, so as we continue to work our way through the vehicle, we've gotten to the doors now. Now these particular doors have a fabric insert in the middle of the door, so we're gonna go ahead and use my drill brush and my vacuum brush attachment to again and brush those areas, get any surface dirt off of them, and we're gonna treat it just like any other area in the vehicle that has a fabric surface on it. Very important, once again, when it comes to using a drill brush, I'm using at this point the lowest setting possible, as I know that these fabric inserts are typically fairly, you have to be gentle with them. They can break very easily, so I'm using the slowest setting possible on my drill when I brush these with the drill brush. Now at this point, some detailers would pull out their detail brush, like a boar's head detail brush with some softer bristles, and use that to get into all those small cracks and crevices. However, we're also going to be using a steamer on the vehicle a little bit later, which we'll go ahead and tackle that. So we're going to skip that step for right now and just focus on removing the dog hair, and then worry about all the little tight stuff that may have dirt stuck in it a little bit later when we use the steamer. Now the challenging thing about this particular vehicle, it's a black interior, and my dog has a lot of tan hair. Obviously she's a German Shepherd, so she's tan and black, with a little bit more on the black side actually, but she still does have a ton of tan hair on her belly. So very, very challenging with this particular vehicle. As you can see, the interior is dark, light hair, dark car. It just sticks out like a sore thumb. right, everyone, and here we are on day 2 of our Mazda 3 interior detail. Yesterday was President's Day, and it being a holiday, I decided to call it quits a little early and spend some time with the fam. But here we are, it's Tuesday, it's about 9 o'clock at night. My son's asleep, my wife's watching TV, so I figured it'd be a good time to get and knock this bad boy out now. So, dog hair, gone, eliminated. I haven't seen not one piece of dog hair in the vehicle in over 24 hours, so ecstatic about that. As much as I love my dog, I hate my car being full of dog hair. But now we got to take care of all the hard surfaces in the vehicle. So by hard surfaces, I mean the door panels, dashboard, cup holders, etc. So to get that stuff done, we're going to go ahead and be using my trusty McCullough steamer. This thing right here. This thing has served me very, very well over the last few years. I've probably had it for about 5 years or so now. I've literally beat this thing within an inch of its life, and it continues ticking. So nothing but props for my trusty McCullough steamer. We'll be using this once again on all the hard surfaces in the vehicle, which will also help disinfect inside the car. I'm looking at you. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. It's getting kind of late. I'd really like to get to bed before midnight tonight. So let's get cracking. All right, so as we work our way through the vehicle with the steamer, there's a few rule of thumbs you want to make sure that you abide by whenever you're using this thing. One is always keep it moving. It gets incredibly hot, and it is very easy to damage plastic and or carpet or fabric with the steamer. So you have to make sure that you keep it moving. It does cool off very quickly because it's dry steam. However, if you leave it in a spot too long, you can definitely bleach plastic and burn fabric. Most of the steamers on the market that are used for auto detailing are pressurized steamers, so they usually come out anywhere between 40 to some of the larger industrial ones can push out well over 150, 160 psi of pressure. At that point, you're getting into ones that can actually detail the exterior of the vehicle. This is a model that's strictly for interior use. I can use it on wheels and stuff like that as well, but typically just use it on interiors. In this particular shot, you can see we're using it to focus on the driver's side door. The steamer is going to do a fantastic job of cleaning that fabric insert, as well as cleaning the hard plastics without using any sort of harsh chemicals, as well as blowing out any dirt and debris that may be stuck in between any of the little cracks and crevices of the door. Now we're actually going to go ahead and use the steamer throughout the entire vehicle. When I first set up this shot, I was only going to do the hard plastic surfaces, but I typically do one big detail on this vehicle every year. And we just came into 2020 and it was that time, so I went ahead and decided to use the steamer on the entire vehicle, being all the hard surfaces, carpets, and the seats, to ensure that I got rid of all the pet hair dander and went ahead and we knocked out the one big detail that the vehicle will get for the year. Using our steamer here to go ahead and clean the fabric insert on the rear passenger side door. And once again, very important that you keep the steamer moving so it doesn't burn the fabric. Moving on to the driver's side seat now, we're going to go ahead and spray a little all-purpose cleaner on the seat to go ahead and help loosen up any dirt. Let that sit for about 30 seconds or so and then follow it up with our steamer. The steamer will help give it a little bit more moisture, and then the heat will help break out any dirt or stains that are in the seat. And our microfiber towel will go ahead and just soak them up. Now, being that this vehicle does belong to a professional detailer, as you can expect, it is in great condition, but I do complete one full detail on the interior every year where I do, the same steps I'm going to the seats, etc. If the seats were worse, we would go ahead and pull out our upholstery extract and do a full extraction on the seats. But the seats are in decent condition, so we're going to go ahead and use the steamer and just use the good old-fashioned elbow grease method to go ahead and get any stains and dirt out with the microfiber towel. Once again, you use the tool that you need for the job. You don't bring a knife to a gunfight or vice versa. Well, I guess you can. But yeah, just make sure you're using the appropriate tool for the appropriate job. If it doesn't need upholstery extraction, why go through the process of making the pads all wet and the seat all wet? if it just needs a steamer. But if it does need an upholstery extraction, then go ahead and do it. Moving on to the carpets now, we're gonna get and follow the same procedure we did on the seats, starting with a little bit of APC. We'll let that sit and then go ahead and follow up with the steamer, adding a little bit more moisture and heat. And then we're gonna get and follow up with a fabric brush. Typically I have this brush attached to my dual action polisher. However, once again, the carpets are not really bad. There's a little bit of surface dirt on them, so I'm going ahead and clean it by hand and then scrape it or soak everything up with a microfiber towel. This is another one of those instances. If there was any stains or the carpets were deeply soiled, we would go ahead and pull out my carpet extractor, soak this stuff down really well, agitate it with my drill brush, and then go ahead and extract it. But this particular situation doesn't call for that. So we will have a detail soon that will call for that, and I'm really looking forward to getting it on video for you guys and sharing a complete disaster detail with you. All right, everyone, so we finally reached that portion of the detail where we're gonna start focusing on the hard surfaces and protecting everything. It's starting to get a little late, so we're gonna try to rush through this pretty quickly. But some of the tools we're gonna be using for this is going to be our 303 protectant. The consumer grade is just a 303 protectant, interior and exterior. The professional grade is the aerospace. You can get this at like your local Walmart. The aerospace, which is like the professional grade, you can get online. They both work very, very well. I happen to be out of my professional grade one, so just ran to my local Walmart and picked this stuff up. It's great. The smell's not too aggressive. It actually leaves a very pleasant scent inside the car. And it also leaves a very nice matte finish. It's not too greasy. And it also doesn't leave too much of a shine. It leaves a nice matte finish, very, very similar to what you would see in like a brand new car. So we're gonna be using that. And then we'll be moving on to the windows, where we'll be using our invisible glass. If you're in the detail industry, you know what this stuff is. It's great stuff. You can get this in either the aerosol can or the spray bottle. And then we'll also be using 2 microfiber towels with this, one for the cleaning portion, and then the second one for the buffing portion. So we still got a little bit of work ahead of us. It's about 10:30 or so right now. So we've spent about an hour and a half steaming out the interior. So we're gonna get this done quickly so that I can get to bed. Let's get started. Living in the sunshine state, protection on the interior is key, especially when it's black, because it is very prone to fading with how extreme the sun is down here. So having a good protectant on your plastic surfaces in the vehicle is very, very important. Especially if your windows are not tinted. If your windows are tinted, you have a little bit extra protection, but I would still recommend you using some sort of protectant on the plastic surfaces. The 303 aerospace protectant is phenomenal. The great thing about it too is that once it gets really hot, it also doesn't, what I guess they call degas, so you don't get that film on the windshield of the vehicle. Before we go ahead and wrap up the video, of course, I wanted to show this little Mazda some love. We've had this vehicle in my family now for about 12 years. It's been a phenomenal vehicle for us. It's driven us to New York. It's taken us to Austin, Texas. A lot of great memories in this vehicle. It served us well and continues to serve us well. So I hope to have it in our fleet of vehicles for some time to come. Earlier this year, I got a chance to do some modifications to the brakes and the suspension, which have definitely livened up the vehicle quite a bit. It is a strict base model. There is no frills about this vehicle, which is great, because that means there's nothing to break on the vehicle, and it has been trouble-free since the day my wife bought it 12 years ago. So that being said, a shout out to Mazda for building a great vehicle.
Here we go again. Trying hard, but you wanna be my friend. Ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. Here we go again. Call my bluff, I'ma be here till the end. I'm the one you ride to. If you don't.
So So once again, if you like what you saw today, consider subscribing, hit that bell notification icon so you get notified anytime we put new content. Thank you for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.
I can help you out. 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 Here we go again. Time is up and I'm calling up my friends. Ain't no wonder why, ain't no wonder I too. Here we go again. Call me up and you wanna be my friend. I'm the one you ride, I'm the one you ride to. If you don't wanna change, ain't no place to hide, ain't no one to run to. If you don't wanna change, I can